The introduction of BMW's Neue Klasse EVs is set to dominate the EV world and will threaten the sales of many of its competitors. But their first victim, however, may be one of their own. I'm talking about the BMW iX. So in today's video, we're going to discuss why I think the Neue Klasse is such a threat to the iX. And by the end of the video, I'm going to answer the question, is the iX doomed? So let's talk about it right now. For anyone not familiar with the BMW iX, it is BMW's premier electric SUV. And here in the United States, it is their only electric SUV. It comes in two tiers. You have the xDrive 45, which starts at $75,150. For that, you get up to 312 miles of range and a 0 to 60 of 4.9 seconds. For a few dollars more, you can get the xDrive 60, which starts at $88,500. And for that, you get a range up to 364 miles of range and a 0 to 60 of 4.4 seconds. This is a really respectable vehicle. Now, there is also the xDrive 70, which is their M70, but it's a lot more money and also has lower specs. So we're just going to skip that one for the point of this discussion. So as you can tell, this vehicle is expensive. Depending upon how you configure it, it can be anywhere from $8,000 to $18,000 more than a gas-powered X5, which size-wise is equivalent. But for that, you do get really good range and some pretty respectable specs. I have personally driven the xDrive 60, and it is a beast. It throws you back in your seat. It's a lot of fun to drive. And it has a really stable suspension, which is in part due to a couple things. One being, of course, it has a BMW suspension. And two, because the structural core of the vehicle is CFRP, which is carbon fiber reinforced plastic, much like the BMW i3 and i8. So this makes for a really stable platform. Oh, and one last positive thing I have to say about this, and you might think it's weird, but I think this has the best looking rear end of any BMW SUV on the market ever made. I think it's curvy and stylish while still being kind of minimalist without being boring. Now, with all that said, if this vehicle is so great, why do I think it is in so much danger from the Neue Klasse? Well, in order to understand this, we have to look at what is working for the iX right now to see where the threat is. First and foremost is, as I mentioned, the fact that this is BMW's only electric SUV. They do have other electric vehicles. You have the i4, the i5, and the i7, but these are all cars. So if you want an electric SUV and you want it to be a BMW, you have only one option. Now that is here in the United States. In other markets, you have the older version of the iX3, which would be a competitor to it, but its stats are pretty lackluster, and it's actually not that far off in price from the iX, which is a superior vehicle in almost every aspect that I can think of. If you think I'm mistaken about that, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below. You can check out this video right here to get some background on the first Neue Klasse vehicle, the iX3, and see where I compare it to the old version of the iX3 to kind of get an understanding of what I mean. The comparison will be at timestamp 436 if you want to check that out. So with this in mind, it is only logical that any new electric SUV that BMW makes will automatically be a direct competitor to the iX. And the Neue Klasse's first vehicle, the iX3, is absolutely going to do this. It has notably better range, 400 miles by the EPA cycle here in the US, and the WLTP cycle in Europe has 500 miles of range. And it has a better price. Oh, and besides all that, it also has a frunk. Now, admittedly, it's not a very large frunk, but it is BMW's first factory-sealed frunk on any of their EVs, which I think is pretty awesome, especially when you compare it to the iX, which you doesn't have a frunk. You can't even open the hood. It's literally bolted shut. And when I say better price, I mean dramatically better price. The BMW iX3 is supposed to be released at its mid-tier level at about $60,000 here in the United States. Now, I emphasize mid-tier because there will probably be a even cheaper version that'll be a lower tier, which of course will suffer a little bit in specs. And there will be a higher tier version, which will probably outperform the iX in every possible metrics and probably still be cheaper than the cheapest iX available. Let me know down in the comment section below, which one would you rather have? The lower tier iX, the higher tier iX, or the first version of the iX3 at $60,000? Go ahead and let me know down below. Now, with all of that said, The iX still does have one major advantage, and that is that it is a larger SUV. So if you need more space, this would be a good choice for you over the iX3, which means that if it was just about the iX3 versus the iX, there would probably still be plenty of room in the market for both of them to coexist. But unfortunately, this is not the whole story. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, go ahead and hit the like button and comment down below to let me know. And if you're really enjoying it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss my future content. Don't forget that notification bell while you're at it. And if you're in the first week, there's a little hype button you can hit that tells YouTube, hey, people need to see this video. And if you are really, really enjoying the video, consider becoming a channel member for extra perks or hitting that super thanks button to support the channel. And of course, if you're not enjoying this video, well, then you've probably already moved to another video and I'm just sitting here talking to myself again. This is because the iX3 is only one of 40 upcoming models that will be released on the Neue Klasse platform. When they do eventually, as I expect they will, release an iX5, you will now be talking about a vehicle of the same size. And it will probably have faster charging and a better performance specs, better range, for example. But I hear you, Rich, the iX5 just is not as sexy a vehicle as the iX is, and you're probably going to be right, it probably won't be. But if you're looking for sexy, there no doubt will be an iX4 and or an iX6 out there that will come out eventually, and both of those are sexier than the iX ever dreamt of being. And of course, every vehicle I have mentioned will be on the Neue Klasse platform, which means that they will be cheaper, longer range, better acceleration, and have faster charging, as well as probably still have frunks too. Now, at this point, somebody can make the very logical argument, yeah, but they can also just make a Neue Klasse version of the iX. And they absolutely could. But this is a really good time to ask a very important question. And that is, why? Why would they? You see, when the iX was created, it was to fill a hole in BMW's EV lineup, and that was for an SUV. But when you have a full lineup of other electric SUVs, do you really still need the iX? Of course, all of this is just theory, right? It's not like there's anything that I can point to that would actually prove or disprove what I'm saying, right? Well, actually, there is. The XM is currently living the scenario that I'm painting for the iX in 2027 and beyond. It is competing against the entire lineup of BMW internal combustion SUVs. So how has it done? Well, in 2024, they sold 7,813 units worldwide, and that is after a 15.8% jump from 2023. Now, this is a really low number, and it's actually one of the lowest selling BMW vehicles on the lineup. It even got beat by the Z4 that sold 10,482 units, even after taking a 4.3% dive from 2023. You know what else outsold the XM? The iX. In the same year, the BMW iX sold 38,365 units worldwide. Now, I want you to picture this. It is very rare that an electric version of a vehicle outsells the gas version. That's a pretty rare thing. It is extremely rare that it outdoes it by 5 times the number. Go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below. Is there another time this has ever happened? Maybe a European version that we don't have here? Because I can't find any case where this has happened to this degree. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this might be happening, but my number one suspect for this is the fact that the BMW XM faced in-brand competition and the BMW iX did not. Now, with this in mind, let's take a look at the big winners in BMW sales for 2024. And that was the combination of the X1 and X2, which combined managed to sell 413,386 units worldwide. Now, I'm not even going to waste my time doing the math on this, on exactly how many multiples of sales times the XM that equals. I'm just going to put it down as one shoot ton more. Now, if I have an overachiever in the comment section below that wants to go ahead and actually do the math on that, go for it. I'm more than happy to, but I'm not doing it. It is a ridiculous amount more. Now, let's take a look at what would happen to the iX sales then if we had that kind of sweeping defeat going up against the combination of an iX1 and an iX2. It would be pretty brutal. And of course, all of this isn't even taking into account that the BMW iX sales have been slipping without any in-brand competition. Here in the United States, their sales peaked in 2023 at 17,301 units. From 23 to 24, they declined to 15,383 units. And in 2025, they dropped even lower to 12,587 units. So this trend, if this trend continues by 2030, they would actually not sell any units at all. And that's because they are losing sales to outside of brand competitors. Imagine how much faster those sales will drop when they are competing against in-brand competitors. I fully expect that as more and more models from the Neue Klasse come out, iX sales will indeed fall faster and faster until eventually, to answer the question from the beginning of the video, yes, I do believe the iX is doomed. But hey, that's my take. Let me know down in the comment section below. Do you agree, disagree? Do you think the iX is doomed? Or do you think a Neue Klasse version of the iX might keep it competitive and keep its sales up? Go ahead and let me know down there below. And also, don't forget to stick around for the subscriber shout out. And hey, check out this video.
And now it's time for the subscriber shoutouts. If you'd like your own shoutout, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and either make sure your name is visible or put in the comments down below that you subscribed.
G. Blackman, Michael Martin, a Tokyo Tiger. Thanks for subscribing.